shortly. Wayne Couzens kidnapped Ms Everard using handcuffs and showing his warrant card to falsely arrest her as she walked home from a friend's house in South London in March. Sue Fish is a former Chief Constable of Nottinghamshire Police, which was the first force to record misogyny as a hate crime in 2016. She says this murder has caused public distrust.
I'm absolutely horrified to hear actually what did happen. I'm deeply ashamed and I'm deeply angry. And so inevitably, yes, that sort of fragile trust, certainly between women and the police, has been fractured yet further.
There's uncertainty for around 1 million people as the furlough scheme, which has supported millions of workers in the UK during the pandemic, comes to an end. There's wider concern that some businesses will now have to reduce their workforce. But James Reed, the chairman of the recruitment company Reed, is optimistic.
I'm hopeful that many of those people will be able to return to the jobs that they had before. But if not, there is some good news because there's a great jobs boom underway in the UK economy at the moment. And we're seeing huge numbers of new jobs come online at Reed. So yesterday we peaked at over 300,000 live vacancies for the first time in many years. So there is hope for people.
The UK's economy grew faster than expected in the second quarter of the year. The Office for National Statistics says the gross domestic product, or GDP, increased by 5.5% between April and June. NHS England says the number of face-to-face appointments at GP surgeries in England has barely increased since the winter lockdown. New figures show 58% of consultations took place in person in August, compared with more than 80% before the pandemic. Wayne Grills says his father died last year after being unable to see his GP in person.
I can totally understand the reasons behind them wanting to avoid bringing in a deadly virus into surgeries. But I do think that more could have been done in terms of thinking more about the kind of patient that my dad was, and so many others are of his generation, that he wasn't the type to complain. And so when he was complaining, it was pretty obvious that there was something wrong.
A court in Paris has found the former French President Nicolas Sarkozy guilty of illegal campaign financing. He's been given a year's custodial sentence, but will be allowed to serve it at his home. The court was told he'd spent nearly twice as much as allowed on his 2012 re-election campaign. Mr Sarkozy denied wrongdoing. Boris Johnson has appeared virtually at a Youth for Climate summit in Milan, saying the upcoming COP26 talks in Glasgow could mark the beginning of the end of climate change. Young campaigners are meeting Italy's Prime Minister Mario Draghi at the summit ahead of the event in Glasgow in November. BBC News, it's 12:03.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon and welcome to the Jeremy Vine Show, BBC Radio 2, this Thursday.